The calm before the storm? Not in Atlanta. It was supposed to be a quiet summer, a time when rosters are mostly set and teams start mapping out their path to glory. But in the NFL, peace is just the space between earthquakes. And right now, another tremor is building beneath the Atlanta Falcons. First, it was Jalen Ramsey, a franchise cornerback sent from Miami to Pittsburgh like a chess piece repositioned for war. Then, Darren Waller stunned the football world, tearing up retirement papers to join the Dolphins in a move no one saw coming. That move alone was enough to freeze the hearts of Falcons fans, fearing Kyle Pitts might be next. Thankfully, he stayed for now. But here's the thing. Moves like these aren't just headlines, they're warnings. They tell us something big is brewing, something no one is ready for. Now, the storm clouds are circling Pittsburgh, and at the center of the lightning is a name every NFL offense dreads. TJ Watt, once untouchable. Now, uncertain. Watt has quietly entered the final stretch of his current contract, and with younger stars like Myles Garrett resetting the market, Watt's deal looks more like a slight than a statement. He's not the highest paid, not even close. And for a former Defensive Player of the Year, that doesn't sit well. He skipped minicamp. He's waiting, watching, and now a tweet drops, cryptic but loud. NFL insiders are whispering. Multiple teams are discussing what it would take to trade for TJ Watt, and here's where the ground starts shaking beneath the Falcons. Because if there's even a flicker of truth in those whispers, Atlanta, with a defense still searching for its identity, might be looking at the biggest chess move of all. A chance to do something bold, risky, game-changing. This isn't just about dollars or contracts. It's about legacy. It's about timing. And it's about whether the Falcons are ready to seize the kind of opportunity that rarely comes twice. The question isn't, can they pull it off? The question is, do they dare? Whispers, leverage, and a dangerous game. In the NFL, silence isn't always peace. Sometimes, it's the calm before a calculated storm. So, when a tweet hits the internet, a quiet suggestion that TJ, what might be on the trade block, smart minds in football know it isn't just a rumor. It's a message, a power move. And the sender? Almost certainly not the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why would they float the idea of dealing their defensive anchor? It doesn't add up. No, that message comes from somewhere else, from the tight-lipped halls of player representation. From an agent who knows exactly how to make waves without ever stepping in front of a microphone. And to do it, they use the loudest voice in football media, Adam Schefter. That tweet wasn't accidental. It wasn't speculative. It was strategic. Reread it with new eyes. Multiple teams have been discussing whether they can trade for TJ Watt. He skipped minicamp. He's unhappy with his contract. Interest could increase after today's trade. What does that say? It says Watt's camp isn't happy. Not just because he's underpaid, but because the Steelers just took on Jalen Ramsey's expensive contract. That's money Watt believes should have gone toward locking him in long term. And now, with cap space tightening, it looks like his future in Pittsburgh isn't as secure as it once seemed. So, Watt's agent does what savvy agents do: stir the pot. Not by yelling, by planting seeds. A tweet here, a leak there, and suddenly 32 teams are wondering, wait, is TJ Watt really available? And that's exactly the reaction they want. Imagine being Terry Fontino, Falcons GM, sitting down with your coffee when you scroll past that tweet. You pause. You reread it. And suddenly, a name like TJ Watt is echoing in your head. Maybe you never thought he'd be available, but now, the phone feels a little lighter in your hand. Sure, a GM like Fontino doesn't need Schefter to tell him how to do his job. But when the biggest insider in football starts floating Watt's name in trade talks, it puts everyone on alert. It's like a siren in the distance. Faint, but impossible to ignore. The Steelers say they're not interested in moving him. But agents don't need facts to create pressure. They just need perception. And here's where the Falcons come in. On the surface, it's unlikely. Atlanta just spent premium draft picks on edge rushers James Pierce Jr. and Jalon Walker, and with no first-rounder in 2025, their trade ammo is limited. A move for what would cost picks, players, and money, a steep hill to climb. But in a league where fortunes flip overnight, GMs have to ask themselves one question. If what really is available, how do you not make the call? Even if it leads nowhere, even if it's just smoke, Atlanta can't afford to ignore the possibility. Because TJ, what isn't just a name? He's a force of nature. And if the winds are shifting in Pittsburgh, it might be time for the Falcons to find out just how strong those gusts really are. The fork in the road? Future or now? Let's not sugarcoat it. TJ Watt is a game changer. A wrecking ball in cleats. The kind of player who doesn't just sack quarterbacks, he tilts the entire field. But here's the dilemma. Do the Falcons risk stalling their own future to secure a proven force like him? Atlanta just went all in on youth. 2 top picks, James Pierce Jr., a relentless edge rusher from Tennessee, and Jalon Walker, the explosive hybrid from Georgia, were handpicked to become the foundation of the Falcons' next defensive era. They're young, they're fast, they're cheap, and most importantly, they're the plan. Bringing in Watt, with his all-pro pedigree and veteran presence, might supercharge the pass rush, but it also puts a lid on Pierce and Walker's growth. Fewer snaps, fewer reps, fewer chances to become the very players they were drafted to be. Sure, you can argue, forget the rookies. TJ, what is the real deal? Get him, and worry about everything else later. That logic is tempting, seductive even. But football isn't just about today. It's about 5 years from now, cap space, development, longevity. And the truth is, Watt is turning 30. He's had injuries. He costs a fortune. And he's not the same bargain the Falcons just drafted in Pierce and Walker. In fact, Watt himself wasn't a top 5 pick. He was selected 30th overall, not far from where the Falcons grabbed Pierce. So the argument could be made, why trade a potential Watt for an aging Watt? Unless, of course, you're desperate. There's only one scenario where a deal like this starts to make sense. Survival. If Falcons GM Terry Fontino feels the clock ticking, not the game clock, but his own, if he believes this season must end with playoff wins, not just appearances, he might be tempted to bet the house. A 9-8 finish and an early playoff exit might not be enough to save his job. But a bold move? A headline-splitting, franchise-altering swing for a superstar like Watt? That could be the Hail Mary he needs. So what if Atlanta called Pittsburgh and offered up James Pierce, plus a bundle of picks in exchange for TJ Watt? It's a nuclear option, a franchise-altering pivot. And while it might sound far-fetched, this is the NFL, where futures change with one phone call. And the harsh reality? For all his potential, Pierce could end up as the next Tack McKinley or Vic Beasley, flashes of promise that never quite turned into flame. The stakes are real. This isn't just about potential anymore. It's about legacy, risk, timing, survival. Do you roll the dice on the future? Or grab hold of a proven force who could tip the balance now? The Falcons stand at a crossroads, and which path they take could define them for years to come.